In the summer of 1587, 3 ships cut through the gray waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Aboard them were 115 men, women, and children. English families who had sold their homes, packed their belongings, and said goodbye to everything familiar. They were sailing toward a place they had never seen, a strip of land off the coast of what is now North Carolina, called Roanoke Island. They carried tools, seeds, and dreams. They believed they were heading toward a new life, a fresh start in a land of opportunity. What they could not have known was that they were sailing into one of the greatest mysteries in American history, a mystery that, more than 400 years later, still has no answer. Their leader was a man named John White, an artist and explorer who had visited these shores before. He had seen the forests, the rivers, and the native peoples who called this land home long before any European ship arrived. White believed Roanoke could become the first permanent English settlement in the New World. He brought his own daughter, Eleanor, who was pregnant with her first child. On August 18, 1587, Eleanor gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Virginia Dare. She was the first English child ever born in America. Her arrival was a symbol of hope, proof that this colony could take root and grow, just like the child herself. But hope, in this story, would not be enough. Life on Roanoke Island was harder than anyone had expected. The soil was difficult to farm. Supplies were running low. Relations with some of the neighboring Native American tribes had grown tense, following years of conflict from an earlier, failed English expedition to the same island. The colonists needed help, and they needed it quickly. So the colony made a difficult decision. John White would sail back to England. He would gather more food, more tools, and more settlers and return as soon as possible. It was supposed to be a short trip, a few months, perhaps less. White said goodbye to his daughter, his newborn granddaughter, and everyone he had brought across the ocean. He promised he would come back. He had no idea it would take him 3 long years to keep that promise. When John White reached England, he expected to turn around almost immediately. Instead, he stepped into chaos. England was at war with Spain. The Spanish Armada, one of the largest naval forces in the world, was threatening to invade English shores. Queen Elizabeth I ordered every available ship to stay in England to defend the country. White's ships were seized for the war effort. He begged for permission to sail back to Roanoke. He was refused again and again. Imagine being an ocean away from your family, knowing they were waiting for you, and being powerless to reach them. Every week that passed, White's fear must have grown heavier. Every ship he watched sail off to battle was a ship that could have carried him home. It was not until 1590, 3 years after he had left, that White finally secured passage back across the Atlantic. On August 18, 1590, exactly 3 years to the day since his granddaughter Virginia Dare was born, John White's ship approached the shores of Roanoke Island. He should have felt joy. Instead, as the ship drew closer, an uneasy silence settled over the crew. There was no smoke rising from cooking fires, no sound of voices, no sign of the settlement he had left behind. White and his men waded ashore and walked into what should have been a bustling colony. It was empty. The houses were gone. Not burned, not destroyed by storm or attack, simply dismantled, as if the people had carefully taken them apart and moved elsewhere. There were no bodies, no signs of a struggle, no blood, no broken weapons, no evidence of violence at all. It was as though 115 people had simply vanished into the air. As White searched the abandoned settlement, his eyes caught something carved into a wooden post at the entrance of the colony's fort. It was the name of a nearby island, and also the name of a Native American tribe that lived there, a tribe the colonists had friendly relations with. Before White had left for England, he and the colonists had agreed on a signal. If they ever had to leave Roanoke, they would carve their destination into a tree or post. And if they left because they were in danger, they would carve a cross above it. There was no cross. This detail mattered enormously. No cross meant no signs of an emergency. It suggested the colonists had left peacefully, likely traveling to Croatoan Island to live among their allies. White felt a flicker of hope. Croatoan was not far away. If his people had gone there, he could still find them. He could still bring his daughter and granddaughter home. But fate, once again, stood in his way. As White prepared to sail toward Croatoan Island, a violent storm swept in from the sea. The winds tore at the ships. The waves grew tall and merciless. His crew, already exhausted and low on supplies, refused to risk the dangerous crossing. White had no choice. He was forced to turn back to England without ever setting foot on Croatoan Island, without ever learning what had truly happened to his family and his colony. He would spend the rest of his life trying to return. He never did. John White died without ever knowing whether his daughter and granddaughter were alive or dead, safe or lost forever. Think about that for a moment. A father who crossed an ocean not once but twice, searching for his child, and never received an answer. It is one of the most heartbreaking details in this entire story, and it is the reason the Roanoke mystery feels less like a historical footnote and more like an open wound. In the centuries since 1590, historians, archaeologists, and explorers have searched for clues to explain what happened to the lost colony. Several theories have emerged, each one plausible, none of them proven. The assimilation theory suggests the colonists moved in with the Croatoan people, or another nearby tribe, and were peacefully absorbed into their community, learning their language, adopting their customs, and eventually blending into native life entirely. Some later explorers reported encountering Native Americans with gray or light-colored eyes, and stories of talking birds, parrots, an animal unfamiliar to native tribes but common among English sailors. Could these have been descendants of the lost colonists? The disease and starvation theory points to the harsh conditions of the era. Perhaps the colonists, weakened by hunger, were struck by illness and died in smaller groups, their remains scattered or lost to time and nature. The Spanish attack theory notes that Spain considered the English settlement a threat to their own colonies in the Americas. Some historians believe Spanish forces may have located and destroyed the colony, though no Spanish records have ever confirmed this. The migration theory suggests the colonists split into smaller groups and moved further inland, perhaps attempting to reach the Chesapeake Bay area, a location White himself had once considered more promising than Roanoke. Modern archaeologists have used advanced tools, ground-penetrating radar, DNA analysis, and careful excavation to search for physical evidence. Small clues have emerged, pieces of pottery, tools, and fragments that hint at where the colonists may have gone. But nothing has been definitive. No mass grave has been found. No confirmed settlement of survivors has been located. No document has surfaced that closes the case. 400 years of searching, and the trail remains cold. More than 100 people disappeared. When John White returned in 1590, every single colonist, men, women, and children, was gone. John White returned and found the settlement abandoned. The homes had been carefully taken apart, not destroyed by violence. The word Croatoan was left behind, carved into a post without the agreed-upon symbol for distress. Their final fate remains uncertain. No bodies, no confirmed graves, and no definitive proof of what happened next have ever been found. That is the entire foundation of fact beneath one of history's most enduring mysteries. Everything else, the theories, the legends, the guesses, is built on top of these 5 simple, confirmed truths. And it's important to remember that, because it's easy for a mystery this old to collect exaggerated claims over the centuries. The honest answer, even today, is that we simply do not know. Roanoke has never stopped calling to us. Writers have turned it into novels, filmmakers have turned it into documentaries and dramas. Television shows have borrowed its name for chilling stories of the unexplained. Even now, archaeologists continue to dig along the coast of North Carolina, searching for the next small clue that might finally crack the case. Why does this story hold on so tightly after all this time? Perhaps it's because Roanoke represents something deeply human. The fear of being lost, of vanishing without a trace, of loved ones searching for us and never finding an answer. It is a mystery, yes, But at its heart, it's a story about people. The people of Roanoke were not just names in an old mystery. They were families, parents, children, and dreamers who crossed an ocean hoping to build a new life. They were a father who never stopped searching for his daughter, a mother who held her newborn on unfamiliar shores, hoping for a better future. A community that vanished so completely, so quietly, that centuries of searching have failed to bring them back into the light. More than 4 centuries later, their disappearance continues to challenge historians. Every new tool, every new excavation, every new piece of evidence brings us a little closer. And yet, the full truth still slips just out of reach. The question remains, did the lost colony truly disappear? Or did it simply become part of another story waiting to be discovered? If this story moved you, you're not alone. The mystery of Roanoke has haunted historians for over 400 years, and it's far from the only unsolved chapter in our past. If you want more true historical mysteries brought to life like this one, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Drop a comment below. What do you think really happened to the lost colony? I read every single one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.